And we're live. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for joining us. This session is on Android developer, Nano-degree, Unblocking session. We have the amazing Belvi here with us. Yeah, so let me just introduce myself. So my name is Rahma Abdi Halane. I'm a program assistant with the AOC from Mombasa Coast region in Kenya. So I have here with me Choma and Belvi. I'll let them introduce themselves before we go right into the program.
Hello everyone, I'm Benji Nozakari. I am an Android developer. I currently work with Intelia as lead Android engineer. I have like over 3 years experience in actively developing Android applications. In my spare time, I contribute to two open source projects. I learn, and I'm also very glad that I'll be sharing a lot with you guys today.
Cool, Belvin. Thank you for that introduction. So, it's your girl here, Choma, a program assistant for Southwest Region, Lagos, Nigeria. So, we'll be helping you to get through the blockers that you have in your Android Nano Degree program. So, feel free to ask your questions in the YouTube channel area. And you guys are in safe hands, and Belvin will do justice to them. Thanks for joining in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for that. Yeah, so we'll go just right in ahead and start. Belvi, should I like share with you the document or you already have the link to the questions?
Yeah, I have like a link to a document here. And
Okay,
actually,
awesome.
I can actually see like roughly 5 4 questions. So
Yeah, sure.
I need to be certain the questions that we are treating in this section. Is it from this document or, as Shoma mentioned, from the live uh, channel on YouTube?
So we have questions on the document, and if we get more questions on the comment section, we'll just add them to the document so that you can be able to see them.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so I think I need to share my screen, right?
Yes, if necessary.
Okay, yeah. So the first question I have here is said I'm having issues with the Gradle final project. I would like an explanation of a bit of how to go about it. One, I don't really know. The question is not so clear, so I really need to know the issues you are having around Gradle. The thing is, depending on the kind of like number one, the my advice for everyone is if you are jumping straight into Android development and this actually like the first time you are getting to install Android Studio on your laptop, first advice is please do that. When you are doing that, have a very good internet access. It's very important because I've seen situations where you're trying to set up Android Studio for the first time, you're trying to run your project for the first time, and because you don't have adequate internet access, the download is not complete, and then you are stuck. You are unable to create a project that is fully bug free because the resources needed locally for to do that was not properly downloaded. So I've actually had an experience where you have to like delete the entire video folder first. So I don't know the issues this particular user is facing, but if it has to do with probably setting up the project, what I would advise is if you are setting it up for the first time, make sure your internet access is very pretty good, so you don't have a problem of with not with when you're trying to build project, radio is not working well. Then number two is if you're having radio issues, what I suggest you should do is try and look for the particular problem online. Yeah, around that particular radio problem. If it has to do with some issues, might be it's not building because you have conflicting dependencies. If that is the case, is a popular error that you can easily look out on Google or Stack Overflow and carry solve it for you. So I'm not so certain what this particular issue is, but there are whole lot of issues we might probably have with Gradle. It can also be that the Gradle version you are using is not up to date. That in that case you have to like check what there's a link check for Gradle on Android Studio. What it does for you is to kind of like flag and show like a light those areas that you might probably need to like update. So if that's the case, you still really need to do that. If the user, whoever has the question, can make it clear on the YouTube chat or what the question is around the Gradle project. I think that's fine. I can mention and give directions on how it can be solved.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Belvi. Chizoba is here with us. So, Chizoba, thank you for joining in. Share? Can you say something to those that are watching? Share your profile, what you do.
Okay, good day everyone. My name is Chizoba, as you already heard. I'm an Android developer at Later. Currently, like the only Android developer that actually builds a mobile application and adds new features. So that's like a daily day of like an Android developer story, adding new features, fixing bugs, also optimizing the application in terms of performance and in terms of the big structure and several other ways that you can actually write better scalable applications as we have like lots of it. Yeah, so pretty much that. Outside work, I try as much as possible to do open source collaboration, and I just keep on improving my skills and also building the community. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm done. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Chizoba, we had a little difficulty hearing everything you said.
Oh,
Can you do us a favor of speaking up?
okay. 1 second. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Okay. So as I was saying, so I should just like repeat all what I said.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So I said I'm Chizoba as earlier introduced. I'm an Android developer at Later. What I currently do for them is adding new features to the application, um, debugging issues found, and actually trying to keep the app to work for different devices. As we all know that the Android OS has several manufacturers and it has different compatibility issues in terms of OS version, memory size, and the rest. So try to keep it to work for as much platforms as possible. And as we also have a large user base, and try to also ensure that just doing all best practices to ensure that you don't have issues on low end devices. So pretty much that's what I do on a daily basis. Outside that, I also contribute to open source from time to time and also help building the community. That's all.
Okay, Chizoba, you talked a little bit about Gradle and all that. Someone asked a question which Belvi kind of helped us to explain, but the person wasn't very specific. Can you like contribute since you took the Nano-degree program before? The question is the person said he's having issues with the Gradle final project, that he would like an explanation, a bit of explanation on how to go about it.
So there's a question about building your your projects and having errors with Gradle when trying to build your project, or is it in taking the Gradle course on Udacity? Although I don't think the Gradle course is part of their syllabus, so I think it should be the first option.
Okay, he wasn't specific, but can you give a general, from your experience, the general feedback on
Okay.
what you think about the challenges that Android developers have with Gradle?
Yeah, so we have lots of issues with Gradle. In short, we actually say Gradle is like mining Bitcoins, right? But the basic thing, I think Belvi has actually hit the nail on the head. The basic thing there is some things that actually help me out is ensure you have good internet connection. If your internet connection is a bit flaky, it may start downloading the missing dependencies and reach halfway and then stop and then still shows you that same error. So try as much as possible that you have an internet connection that is stable. It may not be 100% fast, but just ensure that it's not flaky, it's not going on and off, it's constant, it's constantly stable, and it's working, right? That's first thing that can help. Another thing is trying to understand the error messages. Starting programming, I know it can be quite difficult to understand how to read your stack trace or understand those error messages. But it's really key to try seeing if you could actually, it's actually a useful skill because it's something that is really related to debugging, right? The useful skill to be able to understand how to read your stack trace and understand what's actually the real cause of this error. And when you can do that, you be able to understand better how to research, how to actually know what your problem is, right? To be able to ask the questions on Stack Overflow, or to be able to research for it on Stack Overflow, or for you to even be able to access a fellow developer. So another way to go about it is try looking for that area or reading or getting to see the real error, and then even just a simple copy and paste on Stack Over on Google, you actually will pretty much show you the solution. But sometimes it can still be a whole up and down, and but these are pretty much the 2 points I have that you could actually go about it for now until we, if it still doesn't work, then you pretty much will need to show another developer like the exact error message where he will be able to help you out, walk you through seeing those errors, and then help you go through understanding those error messages better. But those are like 2 opinions I have based on my experience.
Okay, thank you very much, Chizoba. Another question here says, "Hello, I'm stuck at the popular movie stage one. I have no clue on how to start. Your guidance would be highly appreciated. I really want to finish the course. So, Belvi, can you like help us with that question?"
Yeah, there are a couple of things these learners can do. One of them should be reach out to someone that has started for direction. Because the thing is, we can't possibly reach out to everybody down. And yeah, said it's stuck. Same thing with the question one. Where is it stopped at? Is it that he tried importing, building the project and can't move forward, or does not know the requirements of what he's doing? So you really need to know like what the bottlenecks are. And Shilaba has mentioned, I'm really glad that they have they should have like study partners. I think they do already. You can reach out to people that are ahead, on the same group, and trying to like know how to move from point one to point two. So the guidance should be leverage on the connections you have, leverage on the connections, and when you are stuck to move forward. For us to be able to help you, we need to know what technical issues you are having. If you don't know the technical issues you are having, you just can't generalize. The movie project itself, yeah, because as I like was it last year when I implemented the movie project itself, there are a couple of requirements. There are a couple of things that I expected of you. One of them is what exactly are you have problem with? Is it maybe consuming the APIs? Or is it that you don't know how to navigate on the website and how to get your API key and make those calls and use them on your app? What exactly are the issues so that we know what we are addressing? If it was an issue with the APIs, then I know what I'm talking about is probably helpful libraries that you can use to make those API calls or architecture that you can use to make everything simpler for you. But we don't really know. I don't really know currently where the user is stopped in this process of setting up the movie station.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Belvi. So, guys, we need you guys to be very specific in asking your questions. Those of you that are watching on YouTube channel, please ask specific questions where exactly you are stuck or you have a challenge. So, Chizoba, I would just like to say you went through the rubrics of the movie app. As a developer, when actually doing that project, what were the major challenges you personally had, and how were you able to solve them? Hello, Chizoba. Oh, I think we lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So one of the issues every developer we actually have building any project is um, understanding. So understanding like platforms you have to use. As I can see here, um, they were asked to make use of the image processing library Picasso. Uh, so being able to one actually has to understand how Picasso works to be able to make use of it well, right? So going through documentations may have been an issue for some people. I don't really, well, actually, may have been an issue for some people. So if they have specific questions around that area, they could ask. But going to your question is what particular area? I think it would be more of life cycle issues, although it's not really, I don't think it is a recommendation for this your project. But I didn't really have much issue because I pretty much had done some of these things before. But I know where can be challenging will be things like making the API request and also passing it back because of right now their project requires that they don't make use of external libraries like retrofit for doing that to make that network request. So that can also be another issue where they can have a challenge based on my experience, right? Um, yeah, but it's more of understanding how those JSON structures actually work and how and I believe the course did a very great work in terms of explaining how you should actually convert the JSON object which you get from the server or which you get from as your response, converting into a Java object and passing that data. Pretty much those are like the two areas one can have issues with connecting to the API and also making use of external library.
Okay, cool. So the next person just says UI test using Espresso. I didn't give much details or anything. What challenges do you think Android developers in general have with UI test using Espresso? Velvet, can you help us with that? Or you
Yeah,
as a developer, what challenges have you encountered over time, maybe from beginner level to the level you are right now? What challenges have you faced with UI test and Espresso?
for me, I think number one it should be understanding. I never really moved into the test-driven development because I really did not understand how it works. That was then. But I begin to see the importance of writing tests for your code and what it actually means. Everything began to make more sense. That this is really really interesting because let's take a look at it. Say you are building the movie app and you want to test that particular button works the way it should work. So manually, what you do is you build your application on your phone, and then you have to navigate through it over and over again. But what Espresso does for you is it makes when you run Espresso test, the way it actually behaves is your device actually behaves like a robot kind of because you're able to like navigate from one screen of the application to another and actually verifying because Espresso it has like some functions like can we verify certain views on the activity, to verify if certain views are showing, to verify if the UI flow is moving the way it's supposed to move. So what Espresso is just like a UI framework for Android. Sorry, UI testing framework for Android. Just like what your JUnit does for you, or your Mockito does for you for testing stuff that are not Android related, like your Java classes and the rest. That's what Espresso does for you. And it's very important for you to be able to test your user interactions because you have to ensure that users do not encounter unexpected results or have a poor experience when interacting with the app. For you to be able to do that, doing that doing that on a small app, maybe the movie app right now might feel maybe faster for you to do it without using the framework itself for testing. But when you are doing this, don't think about those small applications. Think about when you become part of a team that is building like a more bigger application. Running through, imagine you are testing WhatsApp like you're in a team on a WhatsApp team, and then you have to like test through the app, like the screens and all of that. It might It might be easy for you to do, but it becomes boring as it becomes repetitive over and over again. So what the test helps you to do is to, you are automating this process of you having to navigate from one screen to another to perform some basic checks to ensure that those UI codes you fit in, they actually are presented well to the user without having unexpected results. So yeah, if you really want to learn, the first is for me is understand why you need to why you need to be like test driven in your development. And then number two, understand that it's important that Espresso gives you the power to be able to test your UI properly. And then third one is understand what Espresso is bringing on board for you. He has a couple of EPA methods, like you can set a view, you can compare bitmap, you can set for list view, and automate like the way robot works, like kind of automate you just clicking some buttons on your app and making sure that the event that's supposed to be triggered are triggered, the intents actually have some data that you're looking for. It actually helps and it makes you build less buggy apps and build apps that are more appealing to users. So one thing I can actually reference is take a look because when I went through the course online, there was no really like an in-depth tutorial on the university course on using Expression properly. But apart from so what I noticed was the course is just give like an insight. So what you are meant to do is now that you know what Espresso can do for you, go online, check. There are a lot of tutorials out there, like video tutorials, there are blogs written on how you can write better tests using Espresso. And trust me, it's really interesting. And you can one I can recommend is one you found on Caster.io. That's like 4 or 5 courses into Espresso. And they're the average of like 15 minutes long and they are really in depth. So you can check that out.
Okay, thank you so much, Belby. I think you really did justice to that question. But Chizoba, do you have one or two things to just add to what Belby has said about espresso and UI testing?
Yeah, so one thing I feel that may be a bit difficult, because it was a bit challenging during my own time, was making use of idling resources. So we all know the powerful tool Espresso is, right? That helps you test your UI implementations based on users' interaction, right? Basically, because of you may not be able to by yourself manually test all those use cases. So Espresso test helps us to do that. But then it comes to a situation where when a user clicks on a button, you need to make a network call, and then it is based on that response you get from the network call. You need to now validate if the data is similar. You need to do a check on your Espresso test, right, to see if the data displayed on the screen is similar. That way, you notice that if you don't make use of Espresso idling resources, your app will just immediately, the test will actually fail because of there's a process running on the background that has not returned for it to continue. And so you need to make use of idling resources, know when to tell Espresso to pause for a while, and then to tell Espresso when to continue. So understanding the flow of your code in such scenarios will actually help you know where to actually input those idling resources. And I would recommend the documentation should actually be your first point of target after your tutorials if you're still having any form of issue. Because your document that is the Android documentation I'm referring to. Because it has pretty much all the information you need to know about Android. And I can actually send the link later on automating UI test. It's actually if you just Google Espresso testing, Espresso UI testing, right? You surely find the link to the Android documentation on that. And then it shows you different ways you can actually make use of this thing, the idling resources area also to test your app. Another very great resource is your Android Code Labs. You find there's actually an example lab on Android testing where you see Google developers actually getting you to use Espresso idling resources on a demo project. Just show you how this is actually being used and how it's being done. So I think that's one area that you may find some issues, or you may find some challenges in, but then it's an easy go across making use of idling resources by Espresso.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
uh,
Thank you.
uh,
Okay,
you
Belvin.
mentioned you mentioned about the Google Code Lab stuff. That's one thing that should really be stressed. It's very important. The Google Code Lab like, has a lot of resources that so many developers, Android developers, are not aware of yet. It's actually like a gold mine of knowledge in Android development. So that's was a really good valid point. You shouldn't like play with that Google Code Lab at all.
Wow, gold mine. Wow, that's awesome. I think we'll talk about that a little at the end. So you can like give us more hints on this gold mines and how to actually mine it. The next question is like a chunk of questions in one. Um, the first one says usage of job dispatchers slash scheduler. How can it be used? I don't know if that question is pretty clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is very. Should go ahead. Think should go first.
Okay, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to say very little on this. Um, so my understanding of this is something that helps to tax, right? Tax on the background and pretty much at particular time intervals, right? And this is like an improvement on Android based on what they previously had, so as to offer a better experience to users in terms of battery usage and memory usage, right? So you're trying to make some of these background processes not just run at any time and not just run carelessly, but actually run the better way to preserve the user's battery and memory. So this is one of several ways of making use of background tasks. And there are other tools also that can be used. So it depends on your use case, and still boils down to getting to understand different, like how when these things should be used. Because we also have work manager. I think most of these things are replacing the alarm manager, if I'm not wrong. But it still depends on what particular use case do you want to make use of these things, and then it's all depending on your use case, right? So that's all I have to say on this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Belvin, do you have anything to say?
yeah, sure. You mentioned like the core already. Number one is use case, and then number two, is very important to advise developers that when you are building, you should have like device in mind. You are not building for a device that is constantly plugged to like to a power source. Yeah. So you actually appreciate what job dispatcher and scheduler is doing currently. It's went to under development 2 3 years back because then you want to know when the device is charging. You want to know if the Wi-Fi is connected, and there are a lot of like maybe metrics you are looking at before you want to actually do a particular task. And trust me, writing those codes back then was really, ethic and working. So what job scheduler does is it enables you to execute a particular job based on certain requirements. The requirement can be only run this job when this device is connected to the Wi-Fi. Another requirement can be only run this job when this device is connected to the Wi-Fi and it is charging. Or it can be only run this job when the device is connected to the Wi-Fi and the user is not using the device. Yeah, so you have like different, it gives you a wide range of requirements that has to be satisfied for the job to be able to execute on the device, the user's device. And being able to do that means number one, you have like a better experience. You don't stand a chance of risking annoying this at any point in time because you're probably doing the job where you're not supposed to be doing it. And you end up running down the user's battery. And then the Android system flags your app as being not being properly optimized and suggesting to the user to take off your app because your app is running on your battery. So, like you said, work manager is a more improved version of the job dispatcher and scheduler. It's way more optimized, it's way better. It works well with the alarm manager. And personally, I've used the job dispatcher and scheduler before. It wasn't working really great on all devices. You want me like my recommendation would be using work manager, and also there's this library, popular library online. I will share the link with you guys so that I can share with them. It's a library that kind of harmonizes between event nodes and file-based scheduler that was done by Google. So there are some issues that you stumble on when using work job scheduler that basically just fix for you. So job scheduler is really good because number one, it handles those use cases already, and it takes away the headache of trying to write the codes for each of those requirements first. So it comes to use when you want to like execute a particular task on the background, meeting a certain requirement. That's the best way I can put it to them.
Oh, awesome, Belvi. Thank you so much for the detailed explanation on that. You mentioned that you'll share link. Please share the link on the chat section so that we can share with the learners on Slack. So the next question is advanced interview questions. So I think he means interview questions like advanced. I don't really understand like what he meant by that, but he just asked advanced interview questions.
Well, let me just add to that. I'm thinking maybe the developer is trying to say like questions that would normally ask for a senior developer role or for a serious role that um, maybe during an interview process, serious questions that an employer is looking out for. Yeah, I think that's what the person is asking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chizoba, would you please? Oh, thank you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, Chizoba, we can hear you. Hello,
It's about,
Chizoba, are you there?
yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, can you guys hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah, definitely. I can do that.
So, as I was saying, most of the things that are required by companies, you pretty much find them in the job description, right, for the particular role. And but the basic thing one should know is you're in the intermediate course already. Going through every single thing in the intermediate course, and I think part of that advanced course should already be give you an edge that hey, you should be able to build or work on any Android project. It personally going through that entire course gave me more confidence in myself as an Android developer. So just passing through that stage, you know that you have enough knowledge. As if you go through that course and you try getting as much knowledge as possible and working on these projects yourself, then you should know that you should be pretty confident in yourself that yeah, there's you understand Android to like a very good extent that you can pick up any project. Although there may be some new libraries and new things that people may need, like frameworks like dependency injections, like frameworks of dependency injections like Dagger 2 or Coin, or learning a new programming language like Kotlin, or making use of IX Java or retrofit. These are extra things that can easily be picked up because they're not really like the core structure of Android, but they're like helper frameworks and libraries that make developing faster, right? So those are some criteria that they may want that they may ask. But overall, I would still say you should just have the mindset of a problem solver, right? You have this experience already, being able to talk through all your technical experience and going deep into the technical details, explaining those technical details as if you're explaining it to a layman, depending on who is interviewing you, and being able to talk about your challenges is very key to talk about your challenges and how you actually went through to overcome those things, and also have a problem solving mindset. Just that this also have a problem solving mindset because of some questions to be tailored around that depending on the company. And if you also, preferably, if you have some of those extra skills like knowledge of Kotlin, dependency injection, RX Java, and the rest, it can give you an edge depending on the company and depending on if they actually make use of those tools. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chizoba. Well, I want to ask this specific question to Belly.
Okay.
Um, Throughout my web interviews, interviewers are always particular about object object-oriented programming. I don't know if it's the same thing in Android development. Is there any specific concept around Android development that interviewers always and will definitely ask about? Maybe it's a required concept that is needed to be known very well by Android developers.
Uh, well, number one is it depends actually. Depends on the company you are interviewing at. There are some companies you are interviewing for an Android role, and they won't really ask you specific questions about the Android framework until you get to a particular stage of the interview. They can. Some companies concentrate more on. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay. Some
Yes, we
companies
can hear you.
concentrate more on algorithm questions, but just a particular about what you mentioned. Yeah, if you're interviewing for an Android role, one thing that will be beneficial to you is know how Android works at the back of your hand. You know about the Android components, know why the components and their functions. And the popular question might be they'll give you a scenario of, okay, I want to implement XYZ. How do you advise I implement this? They want to actually see your reasoning process. Because the thing is, if I tell you to build, maybe fetching the data from the internet and loading on a Git view, by your explanation alone, I can, to a major extent, tell the stage of development you are in Android. I can say, okay, this is probably a beginner. I can say, okay, this is an intermediate developer. I can say, oh, wow, this is a senior developer. Because it might be as simple as fetching the data from, from an API and displaying on a view, like a collection view to a user. But the way a beginner will explain is quite different from the way mid-level developer will explain it. It's very different from the way senior level developers will explain it. Because the thing is, the three of them have different factors that they are considering why bringing out the explanation. But that's just going deeper, right? But another thing also include known like updates on the Android framework itself. Like you need to be able to show that you are up to date in terms of whenever you are answering the question. If I say, okay, are you going to do XYZ, and the answer you are giving me is something that probably duplicated 2 3 years ago, it means you are not updating, you are not improving yourself. So number one, know the Android system, know how it works. Number two, uh, know about Android lifecycle management. Because the thing is, I ask you questions just to play with your understanding of how you understand the Android lifecycle management itself. But it's vast, right? Really vast. I mean, if you know about like the core component of Android, how they work, you know about the APIs, you know about some generic rule of thumb like permissions, how permissions in Android work. I think it's not really so deep. I think you're good from my own end.
Add. Quick one, just to add, is that some of these things, it all depends on also who is interviewing and also what they're looking for, right?
Exactly.
Some of the
Exactly.
you may not really even finally get the final answer correctly. But if your thought process is actually aligned to what the person is looking for, is a good thing for you. So most times you should actually understand what you're doing. So even when you're watching these video tutorials, ask yourself this question: why is this person doing it this way? Why can't he do it this other way? Right? So being able to understand really what you're doing, implications of what you're doing, understanding the Android framework very well will help you. Most of the questions are actually going to revolve around an Android role. And it also depends on the companies, because some companies will just ask you basic algorithms and data structures.
Okay, thank you guys. So the
Yeah.
last question here I think is about broadcast reviewer usage.
Oh,
Can it
Choma.
be implemented? Yeah.
Sorry, Choma, for cutting in, but you skipped one question. Somebody asked content provider.
Okay, yeah, content provider, but the person was not
Provider.
specific.
Yeah, sure. You just mentioned content provider. So I don't know if that is something familiar to you guys.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. So,
Okay, cool.
what's the content of content? The idea around content provider is for you to be able to give other developers the power to, in a major extent, manage the data within your application. The best way, one of the best way I can make paint this picture is on your Android device, you all have your contact application, right? You know, from your application, you can actually maybe add to particular contact, yeah, or you can edit particular contact even without going to the contact app itself. The reason why you're able to do that is because while the developers were building the contact app for your device, they actually provided something called like a content provider, so that with those particular constructs, you are able to edit some certain fields in the app without having to know the underlying structure or schema of whatever database that you are using. So it's important because well, it's not you might be able to build an app from beginning to end without having to use content provider. But when you are bothered about maybe for a user to be able to other developers to be able to communicate with your app and probably send data to you or update data within your own database. That's when content provider comes in. It's like a window, like an open door for other developers to be able to like come in. You define the guidelines. Okay, you define the guidelines like the contract that this is the data that I'm expecting. So when you take those data, you are able to, work on your own data personally within your app. So number one, what it does for you is you other people can make edits or alter your data that you have within your app without understanding the underlying schema. That's one. And then it follows the normal way of crude operation: create, retrieve, update, and delete. That's what content provider does. And apart from that, it also makes it easier for you when you are working with your data. An example would be if you are dealing with the SQLite database itself. Let's assume you are not using Room, and or even if you are using Room and you probably want to add to your database, delete from your database, updates or retrieve or yeah, from your database. So the thing is, what you notice is you might keep writing the same set of code over and over again. You are reading from the DB, you are creating your content values by setting, you keep doing it over and over again. And being one of the part of being a good developer is the ability to make things short and easy as possible. So what content provider does for you is it can actually abstract those, you can abstract all those code inside your content providers. And with the context, you can do context.get content resolver dot update. You just pass in your values, and then it just adds to the database. You don't have to keep opening your database, writing the code, or opening your database all the time because with the content providers, you've already like done that and catered for a lot of those requirements. So it's a powerful tool, especially when it comes to dealing with the database, handling your database for you and for other developers. That's if you want to be able to export your data to other applications. Anyone? Choose about do you have something to say about it?
Yeah, you've pretty much said it. But let me just give another explanation to see if it can help some people who may not really understand it. Well, maybe get a better sense of it. So, right as something that stands between your application and your database of your application, right? And you know that this database is only accessible by your application. So, for example, you say you want other applications on your phone to be able to access that data. They can't actually access it directly, but they have to go through the content provider. So in this sense, is that anybody that wants to get data from your database actually has to call your content provider to get that database. And a very simple explanation for that is your contact application. So every Android device surely has a contact application. And we can see that you can even use, if you go online, you can find the content provider documentation for your phone contacts. You can be able to retrieve all any contact you want particularly, or you can be able to retrieve all contacts if you want from your application. How your application is doing that is by contacting or by communicating with the content provider of that contact app to be able to get those data from the database of the contact app back to your own application. Without that content provider, that won't be possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for that. So the last question is broadcast receiver usage. Can it be implemented without permissions? Belvi?
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Belvi, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, broadcast receiver can be implemented without permission. It actually depends on the broadcast receiver you're going to use. There are some that you might have to like especially the ones that have to do with the boot receivers. Like you want to know when this device has booted, like is on. I think you need a permission for that. But generally, not all broadcast receivers requires permission. Some do, some they don't. However, system receivers yeah, the receivers that are being triggered by the system. Example might be connectivity. I'll give yeah that's another example. Like you want to know when the device is connected. Connecting. You want to listen to whenever this device is connected to the internet. I want to be aware. Yeah, you also need like you just have to like define it like the receivers on your manifest file, and that'll be all. So not really like permission really, but you just have to like add it on your manifest tag that okay, this is the kind of receiver I'm listening for. And apart from like system receiver, you can also define your own receivers. You don't need permissions for that. Like you're probably just triggering receivers from your application from one part of the app and listening to it and picking that event in another place in your application. So it's all like depends on where you're like seeing it from. Some do, not all. Like generally, broadcast receiver does not require permission, but it's not like it doesn't suffice for all use cases. There are some broadcast receivers that you will get. You won't really get you won't really receive any action or event when it's triggered because you don't have some certain permissions. Some broadcast receivers they are based on permissions, but not all. They are not all definitely. Hello.
Yes, Belvi, thank you so much. Chizoba, do you have anything to add on that?
Nothing really. It's pretty much straightforward.
Okay, awesome. So that was actually all the questions, unless we have any questions on the chat section. Chioma, do we have any?
Um, Let me go through it. No, we don't. But as earlier, Belby was saying something about the code lab. To wrap up this whole section, I just want you to buttress more on the importance of Android developers using the code lab and tell us if there is any community that will be helpful for them to join and also share resources. So those three in one, more about the code lab, how important it is, communities and resources, just to wrap everything up with it.
Okay, for the code lab, the reason why I like it so much is there are different ways a lot of people learn. Some people learn by watching videos. Some people learn by just reading the documentation online and they get what the entire thing is about already. But other people learn faster with examples, and that's what code lab does for you. With the code lab, you're able to have like a stepwise approach to a particular problem. Let's say they want to show you how to build a simple calculator. They don't just say, okay, when you want to build a calculator, you need a button, you need test view, everything. I just jam everything together. You actually have like a step from the first step. You have some like introduction, stuff you're expected to learn. If there's any prerequisites, they'll let you know. They tell you as at the end of this particular code lab, this is what you should be learning. This is what you should know as at the end of this code lab. And then step two has to do with okay, with pictures and description. Install build so and so project, do this, do that. And at the end of the day, you can also download the sample source code. What you're going to realize is when you follow it from the beginning, like carefully, from step one, step two, down to the last step, you're able to go through that code lab and you're writing the code, and it actually like makes sense because Now you're not just, it's not as if the resource is half baked. It's here and there's another resource entirely somewhere. All the resource you need to be able to run that application from the beginning to the end is provided on that code lab. And when you go on code lab, they have like, though they have different platform, they have web, they have Android. You can filter by Android, and you can see. A very good example was when I was trying to implement billing, the Google Billing API. Yes, on an app we're building here at work. So what I realized was there was not enough resources online that I could get that will run me through. But luckily for me, I just went to Code Lab and typed billing API stuff, and I saw an example. And all I had to do was just get the example on my laptop and run through the code beginning to the end. So by the time I was done, I knew what everything, like all I needed to do to make sure I'm able to bill a user from, like, make a user make an app have an in-app product and all of that. So there are resources that might be confusing online when you read about it, but a very, very good rule of thumb might be check out those code labs once in a while and check out the stuff that you might not even like know that they exist in the Android framework itself, and take a look at it, and you'll be amazed how much you've learned by just going through different code labs over time. And another thing might be their community. For now, I might not be able to like mention anyone in particular, but yeah, there's something like coming up. And also, you can don't like I will always say, don't ever like neglect connections. Build relationships with people that have like similar interests with you. Android developers, they are all around you. Try and share with them. Go online. There are resources online. Make Google your friend. I mean, the Stack Overflow. There are a lot of blogs online, popular ones that are written by rockstar developers, and they actually know what they're writing about. I mean, there are a whole lot of information out there, and yeah, but also work with people. Very important. I think that's all I have to say for the code lab part. Shizobadi, do you have anything for us?
Finally, I'll just as regards Android development. Well, what I'll advise personally is just religiously go through this course content on Udacity and try as much as possible understanding every concept being explained. Once you're done with that, you pretty much have a good or a base knowledge on the Android framework and the Android system. And then learning other extra libraries and dependencies that are pretty often used in companies will be a breeze for you because of those may not really take you, like each feature may take you like 1 day or maximum of 1 week, or it depends on how long. But it's not going to be a whole lot of work like how you were learning the framework, right? And things that can actually help you go through some of these things. We've already talked about the code labs, and Delvi has also mentioned reading people's blog posts. I also sent a link which will be shared to you later to learn new things about the Android framework. Like, for example, they are talking about bringing foldable Android devices, right? And we have to start developing for them. So, so to get up to date, to get latest news about the Android system or what's new in Android, there's a link I shared which will be shared with you guys later on. And last but not the least is most of the single source of truth, or like the base source of truth. So every single thing that has to do with Android can be found in the Android documentation. And I know it can actually be a very difficult thing to go through that documentation sometimes. Sometimes you may not really find the information or even know how to navigate through it. But understanding what you're really looking for can help. And when you go to any of these documentations, I would advise you first of all go through the overview to know, through the overview section to know the features this particular tool offer or what this thing actually does. And then if it doesn't actually fit to what you're trying to achieve, then you know that this is not the right thing for you. You don't need to dive deeper. But if it is, then you can dive deeper to see specific implementations and then learn more about it. And
Cool.
one
Okay.
last thing, new things come in every single second. Don't get overwhelmed, and just tell yourself that hey, you can't actually learn everything, right? That way you be at a peace, like you be at rest because of the Android system ecosystem. It's something very crazy. Is it keeps on having new features like every single day. We hearing about the jetpack architecture.
No.
Awesome. There's a whole lot of work to go learning all those things, but those things are actually things you should learn bitwise because they're going to help you be like updated as an Android developer, right? And those are like the latest tools that will actually help you build better apps in terms of production, and then lesser, fewer bugs and the rest. Yeah, but take your time in learning all those things. No, don't be in a haste. The basic thing is getting to understand what this thing does and knowing how to make your trade-offs between this tool and the other tool.
Thank you, Chizaba.
Okay.
Belby, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, one of the feedback I have for this section is going forward. I think there should be more because it's in like an unblocking section, right? So there should be more
Yeah.
like sense of the issues that they are facing. So we are addressing exact issues and not just being like open and having an overview.
Thank you
That
so
there
much,
is more.
Belby.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we got your feedback. We really appreciate. So thank you guys for joining in. For those of you on YouTube that are watching, please be specific with your questions. Let's have these guys next time with us. We appreciate you for joining in. Thank you so much, Chizoba. Thank you, Belvi, for joining in. And we'll be expecting some resources from you guys. If you have more resources, just share with us and we'll share with the learners on Slack. Thank you, Rama, my co-host, for joining me in planning this and making it happen. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah,
Next
so thank you so much, Choma. Maybe just to add, I'll say we sent out an email. On the form, we had somebody ask about term one, like when will term two be opened. So term one is ending in 2 days, in 22nd. That will be like the day after tomorrow. Please take advantage of the remaining time to like finish the projects on term one so that you can be able to join in for term two. Yeah, and thank you so much, Belvi and Chizoba, for your time. We really appreciate you guys coming on like that. And Choma to my co-host for helping with this session and all. And to everyone who was watching, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, bye
Thank you.
guys. Yeah.
So maybe Chizoba Belvi, you have parting words before we like end it officially.
Not really. Good luck in your struggle, right? But persistence is key.
Yeah.
Persistence, patience. You'll get there, surely.
And for me, like
Well, not got learning.
yeah. So for me, the good luck to everyone. You don't.
Yeah.
It takes time actually. It's an iterative process. You keep going on and going on and going on. And what I would like to say is, don't let it end with this phase. Don't just be doing it because okay, this program is going on, and at the end of the program, you just sit back, find something doing. Get like a sample project, get a pet project to work on. Whatever you are learning on that platform, uh, apart from implementing on the movie app, get another small pet project that you really want to work on. It's not compulsory that it has to go live. It's not compulsory that it has to go to Play Store. It's not compulsory that it has to have like 1,000 users, but do it for the benefit of learning and get to know better. So always find pet projects to work on. It's going to really help you and make you go. Like on the long run, it's the best thing you can actually do for yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for that. Choma,
Yeah.
anything?
I think they've said everything already. Thank you
Okay,
guys.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And
Yeah,
goodbye to everyone. Happy holidays.
yeah, you
Yeah.
too.
Bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.